Former PlayStation leadership have had some interesting insights into the industry recently, and most recently, Adam Boyes is applauding Microsoft's, this is an Xbox, that is an Xbox, everything is an Xbox approach, saying that there are no victims in Xbox's multi-platform era. Says, the guy who was responsible for basically ending Microsoft's career with that one impromptu ad after the announcement that Xbox One is going to be always online, always going to need an attachment to the Kinect. It's all about sports, and games are just, it's kind of fine. It's down the line, and also it's going to cost $5.99, and then Sony following up. I still remember, man, E3 2013 is a magical time because then they announced Kingdom Hearts 3. We didn't know how bad that was going to be. Final Fantasy 7 remake. God damn it, man, that was so much fun. I used to love gaming, and now just like certain games in the entire industry, if it just burnt down, I don't think much would be lost at this point in time. But I digress. Former PlayStation executive Adam Boyes has praised Microsoft's agile gaming strategy and claimed that there are no victims in Xbox's multi-platform era. Going back to that picture, in case you don't remember, that was because Xbox One, you couldn't share games. Okay, it was just the moment that you put a disc into the tray, it would lock that specific game to the ID on the it was so wild, and it was something that even prior to Xbox One's release that November, they did away with, in the same way that they ended up backing off of the idea that the Kinect was integral to the operation of the system. They would eventually, everything that they said was necessary for the functioning of the system, they would eventually do away with, and the subsequent years. But just showing how the PS4, this is how you share a game on the PS4, and then you just hand the copy over to the other guy. That just ended Xbox. They never recovered from that, and now they're just trying to be the Netflix of gaming. But you take a look at the numbers, and they're more or less the Disney Plus of gaming. But that's another topic for another video that I already have recorded and will release in some time in the future. Boyes, known by many as PlayStation's infamous How to Share Games PS4 video, was PlayStation's vice president of third-party relations between 2012 and 2013. So this is kind of his wheelhouse, right? Now, more recently, he was co-CEO of Iron Galaxy. Oh, really? Okay, and he recently founded a consultancy firm, Vervrado? Sure, man. Okay, speaking in an interview with Gamertag Radio, Boyes was asked for his opinion of Microsoft's increased focus on multi-platform releases. Multiple former Xbox exclusives have recently been announced for PS5, most recently Forza Horizon 5, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The boss, Phil Spencer, said that there are no red lines for what could come next, and we've seen leaked game listings rather. The Nintendo Switch 2, which point heavily in the direction that the Halo Master Chief Collection could be coming over to Switch, which is wild to think about. Not like a new Halo title, because Halo has their own problems, and we'll get to them in the very near future as well. They're making some stupid hiring practices in the people that they employ right now. It kind of leads into that old saying, it's not who you fire that can ruin your company, it's who you don't fire. And well, both of those things are actually true, but anyways, I'll get to that in due time. But to see Master Chief on a Nintendo console, it's like, that's super cool. And if you have cross-play with that, and then the Master Chief Collection does come over to Sony as well, it's like, that's pretty awesome. But X-Bros, you guys are kind of hurting right now if you're still holding fast to the whole idea that, my console wars are still alive and kicking. Not everyone has reacted positively to the news, however, with some notable Xbox influencers even having publicly withdrawn support from the platform. Oh my god, just a bunch of hacks that are out there. But I think Boyes has a unique opinion on this, okay? I understand why people have feelings about it and opinions, because their idea, the identity of me choosing a brand and being beholden to the brand is unilateral, and therefore that should be the one source of all content. And people wrapping themselves in, intellectual properties and making that their entire identity. I mean, I was 12 once too, but I eventually grew out of that, but some people just really don't. But I do think if we think of the analogy of there were Blockbuster that became Netflix, and what I mean by that is when they began, it was about physical unit being the entertainment experience in the living room, and that was the plastic player that you put your discs in and it plays it. So you need to serve people with the physicality of it, okay? He added, retail and partnerships are important. You and I have both waited in lines and many early morning openings to rush in there and sprint sprint against everyone else, and he usually lost the race, by the way. Yeah, see, self-deprecation, fat old guy. To get the console as fast as we possibly could, and it's just different now. The former PlayStation VP said that Xbox is now an entertainment provider, not just a disc producer and disc distributor. So if we think about that, the analogy that maybe PlayStation is HBO, Microsoft is Netflix, and Nintendo is Disney, and their job is to get incredibly interactive and engaging entertainment out to as many as possible. That's very interesting, because you see, okay, cool, because you could just even just taking politics and certain perspectives and just putting them to the side for a minute, just all of those brands at their absolute most healthy, like Disney at its best, the kids, the family friendly brand. So making that analogous to Nintendo, that does kind of make sense. Okay, so they're off on their own little unique island doing what they do. That makes sense. But you perceive PlayStation as HBO, kind of the marquee, premium, cinematic experience. That does check out. And seeing Microsoft as Netflix, your one-stop shop where you could just have all of the entertainment. Not really anything's exclusive, okay? You could just pick and choose what you want. It's the platform. It's the place to be if you want to be entertained. So that's the way that we're going forward. Like, it's not a bad analogy. It's just also not indicative of the times, because you got Microsoft Game Pass that's out there putting out a bunch of first-party exclusives that nobody's playing. And then you got PlayStation being, HBO being Max. Well, maybe, like later day Max, not talking about, when they had Rome and The Wire and The Sopranos, just kicking it at the time, more or less, kind of pre-Game of Thrones HBO, when you had the likes of Weeds and all of that other filler shit in the middle. But Nintendo's a lot healthier than Disney's IPs, but Disney is still a bigger company. Full stop. And plus, Nintendo's future looks exceptionally bright, where Disney is just, figuring out what they can repurpose, reboot, and recycle over and over again. Meanwhile, Nintendo is thriving. But I digress. It's an interesting take, and definitely one that at least has vision. I disagree with some of the comparisons that you're drawing, but he was a part of Sony, he was a part of PlayStation when they were thriving, because when was he there again? Like, he exited in 2016, right? From 2012 to 2016, the tail end of the PS3 into the beginning of the PS4, arguably Sony's cultural high watermark, because obviously, the PS2 is the best-selling console of all time. So it was probably more profitable then, but at the end of the PS3 into the PS4, momentum was very much on Sony's side. They overcame that disastrous launch of the PS3, and then by the end, ended up outselling the Xbox 360 and winning the, eighth generation, right? No, 7th generation. 8th generation was the PS4, the Xbox One, which, Sony won from wire to wire. But he decided, he hopped out before things got, really bad, when, Sony just stopped innovating, became incredibly iterative, and the whole idea of the Sony game, the Snowy game, third-person action adventure, same camera angle, side-shaved female protagonist came along. And now console gaming, now you're just having to discuss it in terms of streaming services. That's where we find ourselves. So if you had people like this in charge, we wouldn't be dealing with the vast majority of gaming in the state that it's in right now, which is why a big shakeup at Sony is very important, because those that are in charge, they are no longer in charge, because Sony Corporation shakeup Hiroki Todoki. Japanese guy is back in charge of Sony, huh? Named corporate CEO Hideki Nishinoi, elevated to solo CEO role at Sony Interactive Entertainment. Oh, shit. So what happened? Sony Corporation is shaking up its leadership ranks in Tokyo and San Mateo, elevating Hiroki Todoki to the top CEO post, while Hideki Nishinoi takes the reins of Sony Interactive Entertainment as the solo CEO of the unit that houses PlayStation. The corporate shuffle, effective the 1st of April, was approved late Tuesday. This was a couple of weeks ago, right? By the Electronics and Entertainment Giant Board of Directors in Tokyo. Todoki, a 38-year-old, or a 38-year, Sony veteran. He's the guy on the right, obviously. He's been there for 38 years. He doesn't even look 38. That's wild. It's normally the Asian women that don't age until they hit 60, and then they really age. I guess, you know, he got blessed with some good genes. He's a Sony veteran who most recently served as Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer, will succeed Kenjiro Yoshida as leader of the company. That is the cornerstone of the business landscape in Japan. Totoki will serve as president and CEO of Sony Corporation. The handoff from Yoshida to Totoki also comes with a restructuring of the senior business ranks. And this is where it becomes very interesting as to why they needed to do this shakeup. Sony Pictures Entertainment, the company's Hollywood outpost, saw a leadership transition earlier this month in January when Ravi Ajua took over CEO duties from Tony Vinciquerra, the guy who thought that, yeah, our Sony Spider-Verse movies, they weren't bad, it's just critics hated them. Sony Corporation has lost about 110,000 employees. Beg your pardon? I'm sorry, has. Okay. I don't know where the lost came in. I guess I seen a picture of Zendaya and was immediately lost in the idea of as to why anybody thinks that she's popular, and is a powerhouse in manufacturing cameras and imaging devices as well as TV sets. Yeah, they used to be ubiquitous with just about all of electronics, but yeah, they've really pared things down in recent years. Anyways, PlayStation devices and movies and TV shows through the Culver City-based Sony Pictures Entertainment. I'm incredibly honored and humbled to have been entrusted with the important role of president and CEO, Totoki said. My predecessor as CEO, Kaz Hirai, and Kenjiro Yoshida have greatly enhanced Sony's value, and I will do my utmost to further build on this success and pass on an even better Sony to the next generation. At a corporate strategy meeting in May of last year, we newly announced our creative entertainment vision, which outlines where we want Sony to be in 10 years, with our purpose and as the guiding principle, our greatest driver in achieving the diversity of our business and people, which is part of Sony's DNA, and our boundary spanners and transcends organizational boundaries, and organically connects that diversity to create new value. Together with our employees, creators, partners, and our new leadership team, I will work to create a brighter future filled with boundless sense of kando emotion. Yeah, that's wonderful and stuff. Looking at the rest of the people, this is where it gets funny. Nishino was elevated to CEO of Sony Interactive's Platform Business Group in May of 2024. He shared oversight to the PlayStation maker with Herman Hulst. Oh, okay. Put a pin in that for a second. Who was CEO of the division's Studio Business Group. These appointments were made in the wake of the departure of CEO Jim Ryan. Sayonara, stupid. The elevation of Nishino to the top post overseeing all of SEI caught the industry observers by surprise. Round of applause for this one, because that's fantastic. I'm truly honored to take the helm of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Technology and creativity are two of our biggest strengths as we continue to focus on developing experiences that deliver entertainment for everyone. We will continue to grow the PlayStation community in new ways, such as IP expansion, while also delivering the best in technology innovation. I want to thank Herman for his expertise and leadership as he, get your shit and spool your shit and get the fuck out, Herman, because you were the idiot behind all of these live service acquisitions. You were the idiot behind Concord, you tard. Hulst is staying on his head as PlayStation Studios and will continue to lead the development, publishing, and business operations of SEI's first-party content, in addition to working with PlayStation Productions. But still, he ended up getting demoted because the crown jewel, Concord, Firewalk Studios, everything that he was pushing for, fucking failed spectacularly last year. He was the co-CEO. He was a co-CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and now you can just go dick around as being the first-party liaison. This is a tremendous move, okay? We're going to have to see, especially with the state of play that's going to be happening, depending on when I release this video has... No, I'll be releasing it before the state of play. I don't know if it'll be announced or anything like that, but it's supposed to be happening in the next couple of days, so that'll be very interesting to see, because 2024 was a very light year. Like, what, you had Astrobot first-party title, which, yeah, was exceptionally good, but it was, who developed that? All right, that was a little Japanese studio for PlayStation that was over there, totally bereft of any, Western influence that's out there that Herman Hulst was very, very integral of bringing in and polluting Sony with. But now his ideology is getting sidelined for a much more streamlined approach, and you love to see it, and especially if Sony is going to be trying to capitalize on being the preeminent place for console players to play, because for as much as the Switch 2 is going to be, and it's going to sell gangbusters, Nintendo is still going to be, it's that other console. Okay, like you play Nintendo to play Nintendo games for as much of a third-party support machine as it's being floated out there as being. I mean, we heard that before with the Wii U, and we knew how well that ended up working. Nintendo consoles sell Nintendo games, but when it comes to people that just want a plug-and-play experience, when it comes to video games, it's like the PlayStation is the last one to go. We don't even know if in 5 years' time Xbox is going to be making consoles, or if they're just going to be trying to make Game Pass work, living off of Microsoft's dime until they decide, oh yeah, that's not exactly a good investment for us, and then just immediately all of that money, those thousands of dollars that the Game Pass subscribers just put into that, it just immediately evaporates. So this is a big move for Sony, because they're, at least in the console market for the long haul, there's those leaked specs that the PS6 could be announced towards the end of the year. They're going to have to recoup on the failure that was the PS5 Pro. They're going to have to figure out what exactly they're going to be doing moving forward. And yes, this year is going to be a big year of transformation for them. It starts with the executives, and then it eventually trickles down to the creatives. And we'll just have to see what they announce from here. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.